G'day everyone, and welcome to week 9 of our course on legal ethics and trust accounting. Week 9 means that at the end of this week, we'll be 3/4 of the way through the course. This week is our second week of examining the basic principles of trust accounting. Last week, we looked at the client service agreement as the basic document establishing the financial relationship between client and solicitor. And we looked at Part 3.3 of the Legal Profession Act 2007 and Part 3.3 of the Legal Profession Regulations 2007, which combine to set out the legislative rules for handling clients' trust funds. We learned the 3 basic principles for trust accounting: that there's trust money and money that is not trust money, that they must never be intermixed, and that each client's trust money must be kept separate from every other client's trust money. We then looked at a bunch of examples where it all went desperately wrong. This week, we're looking at different types of trust money. In this first video, we'll look at general trust monies, which in reality is most of the trust money that you'll ever see unless you're in a fairly specialised type of firm. In the second video, we'll look at controlled money, which is similar to general trust money but kept in its own separate account. And we'll look at transit money, which is given to the law firm with directions to pay it to some third party. In the third video this week, we'll look at the other types of trust money: power money, which allows the law firm to manage money on behalf of a person; written direction money, which is money given to the law firm along with specific directions about what's to be done with it; and investment money, which, surprisingly enough, is money which the law firm is directed to invest on behalf of the client. Remember always, as we move through this material, that the Queensland Law Society's Trust Accounting Guide is your friend when it comes to the terribly boring but terribly important subject of trust accounting. The QLS Guide has separate sections on each of these different types of trust money with more detailed explanations than you're going to get from these videos. Okay, let's start by reminding ourselves of the definition of trust money, which hopefully you'll remember is found in section 237 of the Legal Profession Act. Trust money is money entrusted to a law practice in the course of and in connection with the provision of legal services by the practice. The most common type of trust money is general trust money, which is kept in the general trust account. And the most common reason for keeping general trust money is the very important purpose of ensuring that the law firm's fees are paid. I smile, but this is no joke. Remember that every law firm is in fact a business, and the contribution made to society by the legal profession can only be made if firms can operate in a financially sustainable way. However, legal services are also costly. Even a minor matter might well cost a client thousands of dollars. No sensible business is going to perform thousands of dollars worth of work for a client without first being satisfied that the client has the capacity to pay. The situation is even more perilous in contentious litigation matters because there's a guarantee that you'll do a heap of work, but there's no guarantee that the client will be happy with the outcome. You don't want to be in the position where you do $35,000 worth of work, trying your hardest but getting unhelpful instructions from the client, only then to lose the matter and find that the client disappears or tries not to pay. It makes sense for law firms to want to see the colour of the client's money before committing resources to that client's work. And yet payment up front is not one of the customs of the profession either, no doubt in part due to the fact that in time-based matters the final fee, it's not known up front. The middle ground between the two is the general trust account, which provides the firm with the reassurance that the client has funds with which to pay fees, but also retains those funds as the property of the client until such time as payment is properly due. From a practical perspective, the way it usually works is that the client service agreement includes a provision where at the end of each month the firm forwards the client an invoice. The invoice will usually show the amount outstanding, the amount proposed to be transferred from the trust account, and the amount required to be paid. If there's enough money in the trust account, that final figure will usually be zero. After a period of time has elapsed, 7 days is common but not required. Payment of the invoice is made from the trust account. So you can see all of this is being done with the client's authority because the client signed a client service agreement allowing that money to be withdrawn in that way for that purpose. The idea of leaving a gap between the rendering of the invoice and the payment of the invoice is mostly a matter of common sense. You see, the Legal Profession Act includes a mechanism whereby clients can dispute or challenge invoices. And even without challenging or disputing the invoice, a client might well have questions about their bill. There's no point transferring money to the office account only to find that the amount is later disputed. Once you get to the point of seniority where you're entrusted with the day-to-day management of a file, one of your standard tasks will be to maintain an awareness of how much money is in the client's trust account and whether the estimate for their matter and the amount held in trust need to be changed. Honestly, for most solicitors in most firms, virtually all of your involvement with trust funds will have something to do with payment of fees out of the trust account. However, there are other types of trust monies, and it's important that you understand what they are and how they work. In the next video, we'll look at controlled money and transit money. See you there.